What's up everybody, Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel for yet another comic book review. And in today's review, we're going to be talking about X-Men issue number 4. Now before I get into that, please make sure that you're subscribed and stay to the end of the video where I will tell you how to get entered into a giveaway that I will be doing for a copy of X-Men issue number 4. Now this book is being written by Jonathan Hickman. The artist is Lionel Francis Yu. Jerry Alan Guilin and Lionel Francis Yu are the inkers. Sonny Go is the color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Tom Muller is on design. Lionel Francis Yu and Sonny Go are the cover artists. And there are Belen Ortega and Jesus Abertoff are the variant cover artists. Nick Russell is on production. I'm going to go ahead and show you those names on this lovely two-page spread of a title page. You guys know how much I love those. Now, this is obviously number 4 of X-Men. You know, Jonathan Hickman kind of rebooted the X-Men in the Marvel Universe recently, you know, in the House of X, Powers of X. If you haven't read it, you should go back and read it. It's very good. So what we got here, largely overall, the X-Men series hasn't been the greatest series out of these yet, but you know, the first 2 issues were just more like some exposition and silliness with the Scott Summers and his family and stuff like that. It seemed completely unnecessary, but I believe there's going to be more points to it here going forward in the story. Issue number 3 picked up a little bit of action. It got pretty good and revealed some interesting things going on out there. And in issue number 4 here, this one is a really good one, guys. I think you guys should read this. But what we open up here is on the scene going to the mutants are headed to Davos, Switzerland for this world. God, what is it? The world. I want to say it's a World Economic Summit or something they got going on here, where all these heads of state are there to kind of talk about, you know, the state of the world, if you will, and a big subject of conversation is going to be the mutants, as they are now recognized as a nation state here with the mutant drugs that they are offering to the world, and not every country has come on board with that. And we see the mutants that we're going to be dealing here with today are going to be, we got Cyclops, Erik Lenshar, Charles Xavier, we've also got Scott Summers, and even Gorgon, who I don't know his real name. But, and Apocalypse. I forgot how could we forget Apocalypse, especially in this issue. So the mutants show up there to this World Summit, and they get greeted by one of the, you know, I guess the guy who's there to greet them and take them to where they're supposed to be for this meeting. And they all sat down to have a meal together. And we see that basically they were told the security detail has to wait outside, so only Erik Lenshar, Magneto, Charles Xavier, and Apocalypse are allowed to go into the meeting while the security detail has to wait outside. And we see that they, you know, pretty much agree. It's, you know, kind of like whatever. But Scott and Gorgon are confronted by one of the security officers there, telling him that they have to give up Gorgon has to give up his swords, and Gorgon pretty much tells him, like, oh, it's funny, you look at me and you're more threatened by my little swords. You got guns, and, you know, you should be more worried about me. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here. Just some interesting stuff as, you know, the mutants get in there to meet with all the humans and have some dinner. And you know what, guys? You guys know how much I love these here. We get another white page telling us exactly what they're eating, what's on the menu. This is a much needed page, wasn't it? It was, because right here towards the bottom they tell us who's all in this meeting, and you know, because they couldn't have done that, you know, in some other way. You know, they had to give us a whole white page to tell us what they're eating and who's there. You know how I feel about that. So the mutants get there, and they're meeting with all the humans, and some very cool language going on here. You know, the mutants are sitting there during this meeting, and they start speaking very matter of factly. It's pretty harsh. You know, kind of like in I think it was in the House of X, or in the House of X issue number 5, I believe it was, where Charles Xavier actually went and confronted the humans through Cerebro, and basically transmitted all the humans a message, and they all speak very matter of factly, and that's what we see going on in this book as they are there meeting with all these diplomats. Well, in the meantime, while the security detail is waiting outside, we flash to this scene where we've got these soldiers, and this guy's telling these weird things on his head. He's talking about how they're itching, and one of his superior officers there is saying, "Hey man, what are you doing? Just leave that alone. You better not have broke contact with the skin. That's the only thing protecting us from them invading our minds." So all these soldiers are obviously wearing like some sort of psi blockers or something. I'm guessing that's what you would call them. And immediately in the next scene, we see the Xavier as he's being served his first dish. Basically telepathically communicates with Scott and tells him like, hey, you know what? There's people on the floor above us and the floor below us who are armed and ready to basically come in here and kill us. And could you go take care of that, please? So Scott and Gorgon go upstairs and downstairs. They kind of split up and put an end, and just put a stop to these officers going down there to basically assassinate the heads of the Krakoan state, which is interesting because interesting in the way that they go about doing it, because we know at this point that mutants are not allowed to kill humans, so they go about it in their own way, and it's very good, especially when you see what Gorgon does. Just like some great stuff. Kind of reminded me of Kill Bill. But as the mutants are in there talking, Erik Lenshar is the one doing most of the talking. One of the guys actually here in there keeps checking his ear, trying to get in contact with, find out what's going on with their military forces who are supposed to be breaking in here. And they're all sitting there talking about the Krakoan drugs and just this and that, just the things that these diplomats would be talking about, and how they don't think that these drugs, they don't feel they have to take them weekly and all this stuff. And the mutants are telling them, I can assure you, you have to for them to work the way that you want them to, and things like that. And just a whole lot of interesting banter going on here. Really great stuff. And at this one point, they bring up the Bronze Age and how it came to an end, and the one of the guy who keeps checking his ear says, "Who cares what caused the end of the Bronze Age?" And Apocalypse says, "I was alive then, and you should care." And one of the other guys is like, "Is that so?" He's like, "Is that so? Then tell us what caused the collapse." And Apocalypse just looks at him and says, "Me." Oh man, I'm telling you, just some really great stuff. And we can see that they're basically using the humans' tactics, how they have treated mutants, and just really treated humans have treated each other throughout history and throughout time, pretty much against themselves. And the humans don't like it, and that's why they were expecting they wanted the mutants to bend to their will, and things like that, which didn't happen, and that's why they had their assault forces there to hopefully, make the mutants submit. And then, of course, what do we get? We get another one of these lovely white pages towards the back of the book. You guys know how much I love these white pages. I just love these things. Anyway, here they're talking about the Krakoan captains, something they've told us about before, but here they break it on down a little bit more, what's going on here with Gorgon, and how Gorgon is basically, he's basically in charge of protecting some of these particular people. After the assassination of Charles Xavier, it says, if an Autumn Council member plans to enter a hostile environment, the expectation is that Gorgon will accompany them, because apparently he's one of the deadliest mutants out there. And just like I said, some very interesting and great banter going on here. And they all, the humans are all kind of like, oh crap, and they end up leaving the humans with this last warning. He says, here at the end, after they're all talking, after they put an end to their forces they were waiting on, Erik Lenshar says, "Try us again if you will, but if you do, expect a response." So basically, they're telling them, like, don't be coming out here thinking we're stupid. Don't think that we're gonna put up with being pushed around. Guys, this is the best issue of the X-Men series that has come out so far. One I would highly suggest that you guys go out and read if you haven't been reading this series. Definitely read issue number 3 and issue number 4. Been really great stuff being written by Jonathan Hickman. But let me know down in the comments below, have you read X-Men issue number 4? If so, what are your thoughts? And now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I will be doing a giveaway for a copy of X-Men issue number 4. To get entered into that, all you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and leave a link or a comment down in the comment section of this video, and I will be announcing these giveaways during my comic book pull list anytime that I'm going to do them, which will be on Wednesdays, and they will be premiering on Facebook. You should make sure that you go follow me on Facebook, even Instagram and Twitter at the Second Street Marvel. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. If you're not already, please make sure you subscribe, click the little bell and all of that good stuff that YouTube tells me to tell you to do. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up or give it a thumbs down if you like. I don't take it personally, so go ahead and leave what you will. But most of all, make sure you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Have a great rest of your week. Happy reading. Go out and support your local comic book shop, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.